Well, I suppose the biggest issue is the just overall uncertainty that's been created. We're waiting for the government to work out how it's going to deal with the outcome of the referendum, and my sense is that's going to take several months, if not several years. So I think the first thing is the overriding uncertainty. Other things that are very specific to the sector: firstly, access to seasonal labour. The fresh produce industry is very dependent on a good supply of seasonal and indeed permanent labour, much of which is coming from non-UK sources. For the past 10 years, it's been coming from various parts of Eastern Europe. We're all very keen to understand how that is going to work going forward, because much of the produce that we grow is grown in areas where there aren't large centres of population. In some areas there's relatively high levels of employment, and so it's critical that we have access to some of this non-UK labour to make sure that we can continue to grow, harvest, pack, process the food that the multiple retailers are looking to buy from us. There's been a lot in the press recently about the use of foreign labour. I'm not sure whether everybody is quite sure how dependent we are and what the consequences of not being able to access that labour might be. I think our sense is that if we can't have a good supply and a ready supply of labour, what we will see is sections of our industry slowly migrating to other parts of the world. So production that could have taken place here in the UK would have provided jobs, and also jobs downstream of picking, packing, processing, will then just move abroad. I think that there is widespread concern about where we're going to find this labour if the government decides to clamp down on a free movement of labour. Well, I think one of the things it will drive is more investment into technology and automation. I think already talking to some growers, they're stepping up their discussions on how quickly automation can be introduced into the sector. So that may offset some sectors, but we're still looking at quite a long time scale before some automation is properly tested and available to the generality of growers. And so, I think the implications could be very serious for the fresh produce sector. Well, I think at this stage what we're doing is we're just trying to pull together some statistics about the numbers that we need, the numbers of seasonal labour we need, the numbers of permanent labour we need, and then we're going to feed this into the government, and then there will be a discussion about how we provide for this labour need. So at this stage that's probably about as far as we're going to go, but I would foresee that in the months and hopefully not too many years ahead that we will get into the detail of how this need can be met. Well, we know that consumers are on the lookout for UK produce. They like the provenance, they like the quality, they like the value for money that we can provide, and the freshness that we can provide. And I think people will be disappointed if one of the outcomes of Brexit is that we actually end up importing more of our product and substituting economic activity and investment that could take place in the UK with investment that's taking place in other parts of Europe or indeed other parts of the world.